everybody. Welcome to the Heady Chronicle show. I'm your host, Dan Ulloa. We're happy to be covering cannabis news here in the United States, maybe across the world sometimes. But, I've been really doing Heady NJ, building that as the editor and publisher, covering cannabis, politics, and culture, business and culture. We've been having a lot of fun in Jersey, as our market has grown and we've made progress. But, now I'm trying to expand. I'm trying to do a show here instead of just writing things. I got my hat on. I got the office set up like a set. Got this microphone going. We're on these like podcast programs. We're really trying to do something. And I have my guest today. I have comic book artist or comic strip artist Brian Box Brown of Legalization Nation. Welcome, Brian.
Oh, thank you for having me, Dan. Feels good to be on the show.
Yeah. I was really I've been following like your comic strip for like a while on Instagram, and it's been like really interesting. And like you do cover Jersey a lot. And did I actually see that you might be from the Great Garden State?
Yes, I grew up in Jersey and lived there until probably 2007.
Oh, nice.
And then I moved to Philly.
Oh, okay. Where are you from then?
So I'm from Cranford, New Jersey, which is kind of like near like Elizabeth area, Union County.
Right. Yeah. I'm in Essex now, so I'm always big on the geography of the Great Garden State.
Yeah.
It's always to have somebody fun. You cross the river to Philly, it's all right.
Yeah. I lived in Jersey City also for a bunch of years after college.
Oh, you did? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes, it's always been interesting because my respectable hustle, shout out to Hudson County View, chief news correspondent John Hines. So, like, I've been covering, like, that, like, as a regular guy. And then, like, it's really convenient. Jersey City, where my dad grew up, is, like, one of the most pro-cannabis places in Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of... I haven't been there. I haven't been back there in quite some time, but from what I understand, there's a lot of dispensaries in Jersey City now.
Yes. Yeah, there's almost like too many, and it's always the catch of how many is too many and people wanting to get in.
Yeah.
It's a difficult issue, for example, but yeah, I was curious to like learn about yourself, about you, so tell me about yourself then.
Yeah, so I grew up in Jersey. I was arrested for cannabis possession as a teenager, and so I went through a little bit of the Jersey legal system, teen legal system. Yeah, and I started making comics in probably like 2005 or something like that, and I've made like a number of graphic novels now. My book about Andre the Giant was a New York Times bestseller. Some of my other documentary comics works, including one about Tetris, a book about Tetris called Tetris: The Games People Play, and a book about Andy Kaufman called Is This Guy For Real? Won the Eisner Award for best reality-based work.
Congratulations.
Yes. But then I started focusing attention on cannabis stuff without making comics about it, just like focusing my own attention on it after I became a medical patient in Pennsylvania where I live. And then started seeing how like the whole medical system was run here. And then I started making comics about cannabis called Legalization Nation, which is distributed by King Features. And we are, it comes out every Tuesday. It is about cannabis, just the ins and outs and ups and downs of what's going on in America. I kind of noticed, I think, when I started making this trip that like we were all kind of dealing with the same people, and they were all in communication with each other.
Yeah, Jason
obviously.
Ortiz is a character in your book. Yeah, fun time. Shout out
Yeah,
to him of Connecticut.
yeah,
He's a good guy.
yeah, and so like you end up they're in conversation with each other because it's all them, but we're all fighting 50 separate uh, battles, and everybody's not necessarily in conversation with each other, and wasn't necessarily being covered.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, it's a disjointed cannabis legalization movement. That
yeah,
sounds
yeah,
about
it's
right.
totally yeah. They like separated us into 50 states, so we're all kind of like fighting the same people in kind of like slightly different ways, but kind of the
Yeah.
same and everywhere.
Yeah, that's like the fun thing of like comparing, contrasting Jersey to elsewhere, which you do like a lot in your book, is seeing the similarities. In fact, this would
Yeah,
be like a fun thing. We have the Republican state of Ohio, suing the MSOs, and I'm like, wow, that's
yeah,
crazy
yeah,
that they're doing that, and they say it's a national conspiracy. And like, I have a story that like that like New Jersey's last two attorney generals or so, were working for Curaleaf. It's a
yeah,
big issue.
yeah. No, I think so. I mean, I think some of that maybe is the reason why there's no home grow in New Jersey.
Oh, it was a
Um,
big issue. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it's the only state really. I mean, in Washington, there's no recreational home grow, but there's medical home grow.
Oh, there is. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
always like the thing when people get like
yeah,
confused about the technicality about
yeah.
that. Yeah, so this is like the whole thing. Like, I got the sign. Like, we've been fighting for it. It's a really difficult issue. I
It
was like,
should have.
maybe if we called it gardening, that would work. Home
Yeah,
gardening, is that better than growing
I mean, it's like
in the garden state?
it's just kind of it's silly to me because it's not really an issue in any other state. Like it's just I mean, it becomes you know uh how many plants are you gonna have, like this and that, but for the most part, I mean, everybody pretty much except New Jersey allowed something, you know what I mean, even if it's only like 4 plants or whatever, or if you have to
Yeah.
like get a license or something for it. It's just like, and I think maybe you could have made the argument that, I mean, I think that there was people making this argument in New Jersey that since the market was so new, they wanted to let people get like a foothold in the door. But like, there's dispensaries everywhere in Jersey now. There's a lot. I mean, I wouldn't say that like it's completely up and running in all sectors, but there's a lot of places up and running in Jersey. Like if you want to go to the
Oh,
dispensary
yeah.
and get weed in Jersey, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's almost 300 now, actually.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really crazy. And a lot of like the times, like, it's kind of like intense, and then you kind of like hits it on the nail, like the way that like it's always been like corporate dominated here, multi-state operator, MSO dominated, and we've been
yeah,
like slowly but surely like clawing like market share and like making a niche here, and it's been growing, but it's been complicated, and
yeah.
it's been very hard, and it's very expensive.
It's expensive. It's crazy because like there are some people. There's definitely like some indie like people growing in Jersey now. But like the really good stuff is expensive. It's like the like really good rosin. There's people making really good rosin in Jersey, but it's like twice the price of or more even than that.
Well, that's
And
like the interesting. So that gets into like an interesting thing of the legal market. I was talking to with the dispensary guy in our last episode about the nature of like beer and like liquor are sort of similar, where you have like, I could buy the cheap shitty beer, or get me a craft beer, a lager. I like a good lager that way, right? And similarly with gin, you can get like cheap shitty gin you've never heard of, that or like in whiskey you've never heard of, or you can get top shelf like
uh,
Peter, gin, and you can get Jack Daniels, and like there's a whole hierarchy of Johnny Walkers apparently.
for sure, but the high end is extremely high. And like if you go to California, like I feel like that they have different issues entirely, but like
Yeah, they
they
have a lot
definitely
of issues.
yeah, but they do have a range of products when you go into the dispensary that goes like super low down to like you can buy like a 5 milligram uh like candy, like one dose candy, whatever, for like $5 or something, and then like all the way up, and like products all up and down that, up and down that chain. So like I think uh we will see like Jersey get there eventually, but California has like a massive head start. And then they also have all these states run into other issues further on down the line too. You never know what's going to happen. Like Michigan was humming along, and then suddenly they were like, "We're going to fund all of our roads on cannabis consumers," and they added in like a 43% tax to legal weed. So you never know what could happen.
Right. Right. So that's always interesting, like the different states, they all have like different issues, like different ways of like looking at it politically. It's really like a political thing. It's always interesting when it's like sacred revolutionary medicine then becomes like another fucking commodity.
It
And then
is.
it's like difficult that way. And then it's like it's not really inspirational or revolutionary or that interesting on some
Yeah,
level then. Like
it is. It ends up being just like any other thing. It becomes like a political football for somebody to play. That's why everybody's like a little bit has like a different story, because like somebody what happened in every state is that somebody in the state legislature decided to make a play for cannabis in some way, and it just ended up the way it ended up based on like the influences, like who's influencing whichever politician decides to take it up, or whichever legislator, I mean, like, decides to take it up as an issue. And so it's largely something people support. So it's like it seems like easy pickings to me to like a politician that wants to like get noticed, or like ride a win, get an easy win. you know
yeah, well, we're definitely made progress, and that's like the great thing to see about this, like over like the history. This is like it's always like the thing about it. Like we have so many problems, but like we fucking fought here, man, and we've won some trenches.
Oh, for
So it's
sure.
difficult that way. So we definitely see like progressive Democrats and libertarian Republicans embrace it. It's the kind of moderates like pandering to normies and like conservatives, social conservatives, that then
Very.
become the problem. Like these fucking moderates. This is like the thing about politics in general, is that the moderates are always trying to play with a theoretical figure that they can't actually calculate because it doesn't exist. Versus you get like Trump is always playing with his base, saying crazy shit.
Yeah.
And you get like other people say like intense things, and then you rally up your base. Like fuck these rich assholes.
Yeah. The It is just nuts, like the way like just the way stuff ends up turning out, because like it varies so greatly. So you'll have a place like, say, New Mexico ends up legalizing, and they have like an extremely liberal system where everybody, it's very easy to get a license, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have uh, other states open up where it's not extremely easy to get a license. You need to have like a lot of financial backing, or like just a lot of states. It's
Right.
like you just need to have a lot of money in the bank to even get your license. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like in Jersey, I've heard on the low end like 400, $500,000, but that's like if you're really like your own advocate, if you really
Yeah.
know like construction, stuff like that. There's so many like cars that like run it. Like this is my office. Like this is where this company is run, and it's a great, beautiful office for a company like this. I don't need to go pay rent. I don't need to go commute somewhere. I don't need to go deal with any landlord, and that's like a big issue. It's difficult when you have these like
Exactly.
uh, hot dog vendor level businesses versus like a storefront business versus
Yeah.
the chains.
Yeah. Exactly. Because, you look at like any other business, like these small businesses just starting out. Exactly right. Like you start out like wherever, in a tiny office, like in your basement or on your kitchen table or whatever. And you can't really do that in legal cannabis, like, because you can't work out of your house.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's like a certain point where
yeah.
like you have to like get like a location
Yeah.
versus
You
like
have to get a
keep
commercial
running.
real estate, which ends up becoming like, its own thing because of like the opt outs and all this in and out. And it's just like the same, this is just like one of the many woes of running a cannabis business, like in these heavily regulated, times. Um, I hope that I like to think that like one day it might be less regulated, like in that way. Like obviously, regulations are like a murky thing, or like a very large thing that touches a lot of different things, including stuff that's important. Like, you want to make sure your product is quality and like stuff like that. Like, and it's not going to like harm anybody. But
Quality is a
also,
big issue.
yeah, yeah, obviously. But also, like, there's some regulations that are thrown in there that are just like kind of there to make it difficult for small businesses to get started. And
Yeah, so that's difficult when something seems like a very like legitimate barrier to entry. That's a good vocabulary word for business hustling.
yeah,
Barrier to entry. Because
yeah,
then the market is smaller to then control more of the market if others cannot enter the market.
yeah,
Which is like selling bags. Oh
yeah.
man, is it easy to sell
And
bags?
there's like a lot of like, and there's a lot of things that end up there because there's that come downstream from that, like where because people want to be in the cannabis business and they want to, like, that's like their passion or their expertise. And so if they're like shut out completely from the legal market, they're still going to find a way to be involved somehow. And like, I feel like if it were easier to enter the legal market, uh, we would see maybe a further decline in the illicit sales and unlicensed vendors and things like that.
Right. So if we had like version of descheduling, that's a technical term for what Heady and has endorsed for federal cannabis legalization, where we take marijuana off the
Hmm.
controlled scheduled act, the list of illegal drugs, where marijuana is listed as a Schedule 1 narcotic, cocaine is a Schedule 2 narcotic. So we want marijuana off it. We want to empower the state markets to like empower small businesses, and we want to end the rest. So
Yeah,
we're making progress here bit by bit, but it's hard. There's a lot of these like the red tape imposed by like the feds and the federal prohibition that then like drive costs, and then that becomes difficult.
sure.
And it's
All this
really
stuff.
difficult in a time when like politicians like there's like a million issues like now, and there's like Trump, probably a fascist, doesn't seems to like police, the way a lot of potheads don't like police to like
Yeah,
really simplify things. But then he's like being lobbied by Kim Rivers of the MSO
yeah,
Truly for this
and
Schedule 3 shit.
I read that he was being lobbied to make movement on psychedelics by Joe Rogan, also. So you never know what
Oh yeah,
is
that's
gonna
true.
happen.
That's been like really hard as well, because then like I can see the same fucking thing happening where this revolutionary, like sacred herb plant is then going to be turned into a commodity controlled by big business in this very like highly regulated fashion. So then it's really difficult. But then like it's even easier to grow shrooms. Oh boy,
Oh
shrooms
yeah, I
are
know.
another story, man.
I feel like, I don't know if when we talk about the shrooms thing, I feel like there's just less of a market for shrooms. Really, I mean, like
Like
microdosing.
like to say about that, like you have a little too much weed and you're gonna fall asleep. 3.2 grams of shrooms and you're on your seventh trip, and like you didn't know what lemon juice would do.
Yeah,
Wow, there's a story for you, man.
that's what I'm saying. They're not
Oh boy,
super.
you can't have the fucking normies getting that shit. Oh man, that's like intense. Like that's
Yeah,
like
it is.
legitimately a
That's what
story.
I
Like
mean. It's not usually something that people are, like cannabis. Like, people smoke weed every day. Like, even people that I know that like take shrooms like on a regular basis aren't like even aren't doing it the same way they do cannabis, if that makes sense. Like,
right, so
it's
weed
like
is
once
more
in a
like
while
smoking.
thing.
Yeah, weed is more like smoking cigarettes and like
Yeah,
food and
but
alcohol
people
versus
do
shrooms.
microdose, so like maybe they made some headway there.
Well,
But
that's the
like,
idea. Is like the corporations want to sell you a pill, and it's easier to make a pill out of shrooms than it is out of weed.
yeah,
But then, like the pill would be a micro. But then, if you had a whole jar, so like this is
yeah,
a lot of big issues there in shrooms, and like it does heal trauma. Like that was my trip with the fucking lemon juice, and did not realize what fucking lemon juice would do with a mere 3.2 grams is more like 5 grams. Oh
yeah.
man,
Even 3.2 is a lot anyway.
oh
For
is it?
for
Oh
me, to
wow.
me, it would be, because like I
Yeah,
always,
like it's a moderate trip. Like I'm
yeah,
saying, like it's a moderate trip. It's
yeah,
more than a micro. Like you
yeah,
can
for
definitely
sure,
have like the 1 gram. Like you can have it where it's just like oh, like a party high, or you could have it
sure,
where you're
sure,
trying to like heal trauma.
for sure. And it's just like, I don't know, but I think we've made. The thing is, though, here's the thing: is that yeah, we talk about New Jersey like there's issues, whatever. In Jersey, there's no home grow, but they did end arrest, and like
Right, we
that's
have made a lot of fucking progress. We have a
like
lot of people I know wanted to open. We did end arrests. Like I was caught twice, once in Jersey, once in New York. That isn't fucking happening and fucking with somebody's life now. Like
yeah.
we have like Hispanic operators, we have black operators, we have like a lot of like head operators,
Uh,
heady heads, like craft lovers operators. We have made progress and it is hard. And it does suck, versus we have an idea versus reality. And like it has been difficult to like balance it, but we have gotten like our reality higher,
I
or,
mean,
like made progress and shit. So then there's that. So
in
it's always like a
Pennsylvania,
mixed bag of
we
things.
never
So
legalized in Pennsylvania. We have medical cannabis, and they haven't
oh
legalized
yeah,
it,
so Pennsylvania's another story, right? Yeah.
and so they make arrests every year. And there was something like, even in Philadelphia, where it's possession is basically decriminalized. Like they just like write you a ticket if you get caught. Like even public consumption, if they wanted to bust you, they would just give you a ticket. But like even with those rules, they still can arrest you if they want to. And so they made like 900 arrests last year in the city of Philadelphia, and
Oh,
like
you're kidding me.
yeah, and something like 800 of them were non Caucasian
Yeah, it's
people.
always disproportionately
Yeah,
fucking racist.
it's like an
Disproportionately is always
incredibly,
like the fun word.
even in this, even in where we are, where it's decriminalized, like in the city, there's still like those kind of numbers. So uh
Yeah, New York City was supposed to have been decriminalized in the '70s, but then under Giuliani and Blooming, it was like a fucking police state. They were
yeah.
saying stop and frisk
Mhm.
bullshit. But that's over now. We made
Yeah,
progress there too. That's weird, New
yeah.
York City.
New York, I know, and Jersey. Like it's my friend came down from to a party. He came down from New York and drove through Jersey, and then came into Philly, and he was going to a birthday party, and he's like, oh, I'll just stop at the dispensary in Philly and get a birthday present for my friend. And he gets there and he's like, oh, what, you need a medical card? And he drove back to Jersey, drove back to Philly to get.
Yeah, therein lies a lot of my position on the state of Pennsylvania and its cannabis.
Yeah, I mean,
The
like
nature of that.
if you, I live in Philly, and if you, when you drive on 95 going back to Jersey over the bridge, it's funny because like in Jersey, you're not allowed to advertise cannabis shops via billboard in
Yeah, I may
Jersey.
not be against that.
Yeah, but
It's a
in
hard thing to sell an ad.
you're
There will
allowed
be
to
same
do it.
competition.
You're allowed to do it in Pennsylvania though. So going over the bridge all the way up to like the last possible billboard in the state of Pennsylvania, it's all dispensary billboards for dispensaries in New Jersey, and they can't have a billboard in Jersey. It's very funny. They're all
Yeah,
trying
it's
to.
it is funny that way. Yeah, no, I've definitely seen like a few of them daylight. Bud Bandit is a hemp
Yeah,
store. Had one in October when I was down for a
yeah. Bud
conference.
Bandit has a couple, and even the Trenton Mister Weedman, NG Weedman has had billboards in Philly before. But it's all
Of
the
course, yeah.
all the legal dispensaries that are, there's a ton of them that are right over the bridge too. Shout out to those guys, because we're lucky. Philly's lucky in that regard, because if you're deeper into the state of Pennsylvania, you don't really have much of an option there. There's people up I know in like northern PA that will go over the border to New York to get cannabis now too.
Yeah, like Erie, it's probably easy to
Yeah.
cross near Buffalo.
Uh huh.
I guess that's always interesting, the nature
Yeah,
of the
like
map.
up that way. And people will do it, you know, no matter what. I always check the New Jersey. So my mom still lives in Jersey, so I'm always like checking the Jersey dispensaries out and see what's going on there. It seems like for certain products, like there's a lot of options, and a lot prices have come down a lot. Like I feel like
Yeah,
edibles prices are pretty competitive. It seems like, and vapes. There's a ton of vapes on the market.
Yeah,
Uh,
we've definitely made progress with the amount and quality and price of products is always good. You know, we had more manufacturers up and running, more growers up and running. So then, like, you know, we don't. They always said the price would come down eventually. I guess it's eventually.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what happens to everybody. Like it's, this big thing, like, and then eventually the prices come down back to reality. Um, and then the market chugs along, and it's like a lot of hype, a lot of hype at the beginning. And it's like people just, if they stick around, they stick around, and it becomes very competitive. It's like a competitive restaurant scene. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
right,
That's the thing about some dispensary. It's a whole thing of like hustling, of trying to get a market. Of some dispensaries hate other dispensaries.
and
Some
the
dispensaries
sales. There's
hate
so many.
hemp smoke shops.
Oh yeah, you got to pay. You got to pay attention to the in Jersey, especially. There's tons of sales. Like every dispensary has their own stuff that's on sale that day and deals, and come to this place and get two free, free pre rolls and all this different stuff.
Well,
Uh,
we've had about like half a dozen closed, including ones like opened by like fucking Raekwon of Wu-Tang Clan in Newark and like Ice-T of Jersey City. And I made an episode with fucking Raekwon of like Wu-Tang back when I was like, maybe I shouldn't do a show. Oh, maybe I will. It'd be great. It'll be evergreen content. People love him, right? This will work, right? Oh my god. And it was such a big fucking party, and I was so fucking pissed I was late. I was so late because my car had problems. Oh my god! But then like it was still hella crowded. It was
yeah,
still like crowded like an hour later after it had like opened
yeah.
versus
I
like
mean,
other times. Everyone leaves by then.
stuff gets hyped up, and then people, get disappear from it. That happens with celebrity brands. I feel like a lot. Like all of a sudden, it's like, oh, so and so has a big weed brand, and then it fizzles out, or you don't hear about it. But that gets a lot of press. That's what gets a lot of press. So if you get a celebrity back in your brand, you'll get everybody will pay attention to your press release.
Right. So that's always like a big thing of like the nature of press releases and the
Yeah,
press. Yeah.
but
So
and
then
the
so then
press,
it
like
was.
it's the press's fault too for like being the only cannabis stories that they cover are if when a celebrity starts a weed brand.
Well, that's always like the thing about like Heady and Chase to be like a hub of cannabis news to like cover like the regular things going on
Yeah,
versus just
I
like the
noticed that
highlights.
when I started doing Legalization Nation, it was like, and it's really the problem is that there's like no outlets really, like very few outlets, and then for a long time like there was a few outlets, but then they were only they were all funded by the cannabis brands themselves, so it was like not like news per se, but
Oh
like
wow,
you
that's
know what
a
I'm
whole
saying.
long story. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
media is hard in general in this age in
yeah,
America.
yeah, exactly. Like it follows the same trends as like all this other bad shit going on, but like but I feel like things have picked up in the last like 5 years, probably since that started. That like cannabis journalism is a little bit better now. There's a little bit more people covering it, and like more depth and breadth of like stories that aren't just about Ice-T and Raekwon's weed stores and like whatever, that type of stuff. How much
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of times some of these stories that end up in the newspaper or in big outlets are like in places where the cannabis market hasn't opened up yet, or maybe they haven't had legalization yet. Like I saw a story recently that like it was like North Carolina. It was in USA Today. It was like North Carolina is losing $3.8 billion a year uh, by not legalizing cannabis, and I feel like that was like the companies doing PR to like just the general public in North Carolina who like has been fed propaganda about cannabis for so long. Now they have to like there's people that have been feeding the propaganda machine that now have to like back it up. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, I know I said it's really bad and like all these people should go to jail 10 years ago, but we can make a lot of money now. So let's, and like I guess whatever changes
Yeah.
people's minds, but like I feel like that's what those stories are there to change somebody's mind.
Yeah, it's always interesting the nature of the audience. Are they playing for like regular people? Are they playing for politicians?
Yeah.
Stories, different audiences. Hetty, we've made a lot of progress. I've had people, in the former governor's office. I heard with readers. I know the NJCRC. Definitely
Mm.
follows our stories one way or another. For example, then we got people smoking in the streets. Love Heady. We got all our independent, craft dispensaries, minority-owned dispensaries, women-owned dispensaries, and brands that love Heady. So, it's hard, but then we make progress. We
Yeah, yeah.
try, we strive. You get a lot of the potheads and the sharks have been like a whole hell of a thing of seeing who's who. You got a pothead trying to pretend they're a shark. You got sharks pretend they're potheads. Oh, it's intense.
Yeah, it's true. It is like that. Yeah, Jersey too. I've watched a lot of those the CRC meetings over the years. Like especially back in the day, or especially like maybe like a year or two ago. It was all a lot of licensees like waiting for licenses, and it was like sad stories, man. I felt
Oh
bad for
yeah.
all these people.
Oh yeah.
They're like it's probably still like that a little bit. They're like, I spent X amount of dollars. I got like this property. I'm waiting to get inspected. Like they're happy because they had like this huge backlog, I guess, in the beginning.
Yeah.
I
They
don't know.
had to build an agency. They didn't really have enough money. They had people that weren't really experienced in it. They had like a lot of old state investigators. So I know all the big wigs, the important people. Shout out to our now former chair, Diana Waynu. We got Chris Riggs, our former executive director, Jeff Brown, who became health commissioner. Sam Delgado is always interesting, as an Hispanic. I'm Peruvian. This is Peruvian stuff in the background, if you
Yeah,
couldn't tell. It's always like that he was there with Maria del Cid Coso. And then Charles Barker was always like a fun guy. But then they got rid of and Kristen Nash is also fun. She's great from South Jersey. Big labor supporter, big issues there. Always seemed like a chill person who smoked blunt once or twice in her life. So
yeah,
fun times.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I I like Jersey a lot. I would like to see more. I wish the shore communities took more advantage of legal cannabis
Oh
market.
yeah. So then it's always interesting to see like which towns are for it. So like a lot of the
Yeah,
big democratic cities, the progressive suburbs are for it. A lot of the Jersey Shore is socially conservative.
yeah, yeah.
Very
Like
socially conservative between Asbury Park and Monmouth and Atlantic City and Atlantic County.
when I go
You only
visit,
have like a few party towns there, here and there, and even like they don't really want it in like like the Jersey Shore itself. That show with the New Yorkers, the
yeah,
New Yorkers were in Seaside Heights, for
yeah.
example.
Seaside
Seaside
Heights.
Heights has had. I went actually there for my bachelor party last year. They had the the gift shops were selling hemp to
Oh,
the
really?
tourists. It was
That's
quite the
funny.
thing. They've had it in Atlantic City on the
Oh yeah,
fabled Atlantic City boardwalk as portrayed in the great show Boardwalk Empire.
yeah,
But they
yeah,
would
yeah,
not allow a legal adult use cannabis dispensary on their boardwalk.
yeah. Yeah, I know it's like weird. People draw the line. It's like these old taboos come rearing their heads back again.
There's a lot of politicians playing like weird bases, like in various fashions,
Yeah,
oftentimes. Because a lot of
definitely.
times, like people that vote are socially conservative, like older people. So
Yeah,
then they might they like some reform, but not other reform at all.
yeah. Like the biggest I think complaint I hear from people the most is they hate the smell of cannabis. Like they just like get very angry about having to smell cannabis. Like
Always like the funny thing about like a bad smell. Something
I
is like
know,
a delicious aroma to me is a
yeah,
terrible odor to you.
yeah.
Do we
I,
smell the same thing?
I mean, I think that it is a pun. I mean, you can't deny that it's a pungent. Like it smells strongly. But like I can see it being polarizing. I guess like the way that incense is. But I think that also there's people that just have it like baked into them that like that smell equals like something bad is going to
Yeah, like
happen.
heroin or fentanyl, like an
Yeah,
evil drug. You
or
definitely
like
get like a people that like hate on the smell. The argument against that is we need legal cannabis lounges where people can
can go
consume.
consume. Yeah,
So Jersey actually, to our credit, has made progress on that. I give the state of New Jersey and the CRC a lot of credit that we have now 4 legal cannabis lounges in
Oh,
our
really?
garden state.
Oh, I did
Yeah,
not know
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah, so
should
we
check
have
those
two
out.
in Atlantic City. We have the High Rollers and Sunny Teen are like boardwalk empire style nightclub types.
Okay.
We got Ginseng and Merchantville in South Jersey. Closer to you in Philly is more like my friend's basement vibe.
Oh, cool.
It's like, yeah, with super Smash Brother video games, with like big TVs and couches. And then we have our most recent urban in Newark in the Ironbound. And that's the newest one. So they're sort of in between the two styles. Maybe like a coffee shop during the day,
Yeah.
nightclub in the evening.
I don't think I think it's like a wide open like situation as to how these things are going to be, what these places are going to be like, really, because there's not really any models out there.
Right,
There's
it's sort of revolutionary and trailblazing. The very first day they opened in last July 25, they were more legal than anything that had ever existed in Amsterdam, which is wild.
yeah, because the Amsterdam laws are kind of like loopholes.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
like a weird gray thing with
yeah,
like the wholesale.
yeah. It was like they only could have like a certain amount of cannabis on the premises at any given moment, but they weren't allowed to transport cannabis. So like they had to have runners on bicycles going from like the dispensary back to the stash house. But like that trip from the stash house to the dispensary was illegal, but they like let them do it. But like it was something like that.
Well, like the Dutch made progress where they could, and fabled Amsterdam remains fabled Amsterdam.
That's true. I've spoken to people there. They have legalized a little bit for real now in the Netherlands. Like they call it the experiment, and
Oh,
there's
they
a
have it, because I
yeah.
thought there was a crackdown there at one point.
Like when I went to Cannabis last year, and when I was there, I was talking to journalist from Amsterdam, and he was telling me about how they're just starting this plan, and how like there's going to be 10 legal cannabis growers, and we're going to see like how it goes, and then they're going to reassess or something like that.
10 is like an MSO.
Yeah,
Fuck.
it's like nothing. I
I don't know
know
if they have like a
it is.
government the way we do.
It's just like an MSO situation. So then I was confused. I was like, well, was it just like the 10 biggest cannabis companies? And he was like, not necessarily, because I talked to one of the people, and he was just like a guy. So it was just, I think there was like you had to apply to it, but it's very European the way the way they did it. Like in the USA, if they did that, it would just be the 10 companies with the 10 biggest companies would get all
Right,
the
right,
licenses.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's cool. You went to Spain, because I actually went to Spain last year on my honeymoon with my wife. Shout out to my lovely wife
Oh,
Jody.
nice.
Loves edibles periodically and the doses. She's a petite, lovely girl, likes petite dose periodically. So I did drag her to like one of the lounges. What do they call them? Clubs. There's
The
clubs
clubs.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really interesting the nature of like Spain seems like it has more of like smoke shops and hemp. And like a lot and like we were literally in this like historical area that's like 900 or like 2000 years old. Yeah, we saw a Roman temple. It's like hella old in Barcelona.
Yeah.
Like the historical area that had like so many smoke shops at
Yeah.
like 1819, like we lost the joy of counting.
Yeah. There's so many, and then they can't have signs. It's like this
Oh, they
hidden.
had
So like where we were anyway, they had like it was all like you had to know where the address was.
Yeah. If you walked around like the historical area, you would see the stuff. Like I
Yeah.
guess you were by the pyramid, is like one side of downtown. We were staying on the other side of the city, and
Yeah.
then like going downtown.
So it was like, but it was there's so many though, and we went to a place called La Creme Gracia, which was they're the ones that had me come out there, and it was really great. Like I saw like all like the cannabis legends there, uh, and all these people that I wanted to meet and stuff like that. It's
Oh, that's
pretty
always
crazy.
fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool the way they do it there. Like it's like it's like a bar kind of, but like it's packaged goods. So it's like a dispensary and a bar kind of like because you'd go and like you'd stop in. People will get like, all right, let me get like an eighth of this and blah 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 and a pre roll, and then they like just sit and smoke the pre roll and then bring the rest home with them. You know,
Yeah,
like
it's always like the interesting thing comparing contrasting lounges. Like I definitely went to a lounge called Bank of England. Definitely had like heavy underground vibes.
yeah,
Seemed like an interesting place, and it was like a quiet night, and we were like a little late because I got lost and had
yeah,
some issues. But it's definitely interesting to see, and like I could definitely see it like has a lot of potential. Like in Jersey, they want to be like bar and grills and serve food and
serve
like
food,
drinks.
yeah,
It's a whole big issue.
like
Like
to get people.
they've fined like this is like the thing about like the CRC is like they do have like heavy fines against like the MSO sometimes, and then they have some petty and anti bullshit fines against like nice companies.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah,
oh man, this is
yeah. I know.
complicated.
Jersey's very like you got to play by the rules or whatever. They're gonna like fine you, and it's like that kind of with everything there. I feel
Yeah,
like. I
yeah,
feel
it's
like.
a whole hell of a thing. A
Yeah.
lot of the stories about
Like
Jersey are
they
fucking
don't fuck
true.
around really. Like.
Yeah, the whole thing about FIFA and like a great meme of like Tony Soprano.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
another story about soccer and the World
Yeah,
Cup coming to North Jersey.
it's pretty